Couple of weeks, there's likely to be a ban announced, and the ban would be for all Russian diamonds. So just as a precursor to this, April 2022, the Biden administration issued an executive order to ban Russian diamonds. So this has already been done by the US and UK. The key difference here is twofold. One is instead of 2 countries, it's 7 countries. And second, and I think far more importantly, is the previous ban was only on rough. Now the thing is, for rough diamonds, those get exported typically from Russia to India, China, or Antwerp. And in this case, the cutting and polishing happens in those centers, and those are then substantially transformed goods, so they are no longer considered Russian diamonds. So that previous ban really had no teeth. This is very different because they're thinking about prohibiting cutting and polished Russian diamonds from entering any of the G7, which is really 65% of the total market demand.
This is what we do with Russian goods, that we want to put sanctions on them, right, so we're serious. Right. But they can send the goods to India or China to get finished, and then we'll buy them.
Yeah, like oil.
Exactly.
All right, so how big is Russia in terms of being a supplier?
So Russian diamond market is roughly $4 billion. There was $4 billion in exports back in 2021 before the war. Just to compare that to the overall GDP, Russian GDP in 2021 was 1.7 trillion. So you're really talking about 0.2% of the market.
Yep.
And to the previous point, it is more optics than reality because 0.2% is a pretty small part of the overall market to change.
All right, so where do you typically get your diamonds?
So we typically buy from site holders, which are the customers of De Beers. So typically Botswana sort is our number one source. So we started avoiding Russian diamonds back in 2022 when the ban in the US was announced preemptively. So for us, it doesn't really affect us because we don't source Russian diamonds in any case.
How fungible are these stones? I mean, how would you know if a diamond came, cut, polished, finished out of Russia? It doesn't have any kind of microchip inside it. There's no tag, right?
It's hard, and that's why this ban is going to be especially difficult to enforce. But the idea behind it is really implementing blockchain technology and ledger systems throughout the supply chain to be able to figure out what's coming from Russia versus elsewhere. And honestly, I think it's actually kind of great because all of a sudden traceability becomes enforced in the diamond industry, which is great. So we can make sure we don't get any conflict diamonds, blood diamonds, and the like.
Talk to us about the diamond market today. How's it been over the last year or two? Are diamonds more expensive, less expensive?
So natural diamonds have been getting crushed. So
really?
Since their peak in mid-2022, they are down roughly 35 to 50% in terms of value. A few reasons. One is that there is a natural lack of demand in China as well as the US, which are the two major consumers of diamonds. And people are going out a lot more. They're eating out, traveling, and a lot of that consumption power is going there. But I think the bigger issue is lab-grown diamonds.
And you guys do lab-grown diamonds, right?
We have launched lab-grown. And so a few interesting statistics on lab-grown. Back in 2018, it was like 2% of the market. This last year, 36% of engagement rings sold were lab-grown engagement rings.
Wow.
Over half of current diamond distribution in the US is lab-grown. So really, they've taken off. It's a perfect substitute, chemically, physically, optically the same, at discounts ranging anywhere from 75 to 90% of their natural equivalents.
So
and
basically,
you can't tell the difference.
I get my wife a lab-grown diamond. If I give her a 2-carat honker on a platinum ring, she will be just as pleased as if I gave her a real blood diamond.
Well, not a blood diamond per se, but a natural diamond, let's call it.
Yes.
Yes, so absolutely.
And she takes it down to Wilson Jewelers in Scarsdale. They're not going to know the difference.
They will not. The only way you can know the difference is if you send it to the GIA or IGI or another certification lab. And there's small traces of nitrogen in natural diamonds that do not exist in lab-grown. That's really the only way you'll be able to tell the difference. But visually, you can't tell.
I'm never buying a real diamond again.